what are some things that you feel you could do better on the board than the incumbent is doing?
Well, I think when it comes to economic development, we really have to pay attention to the small businesses in the community. Right now, our property taxes are the highest in the state, and businesses are taxed at 12 times that rate. We need to focus on reducing excessive regulations, reducing impact fees, and also, looking at the permitting zoning process and make it a little easier, make it a little more business friendly. We have to fix our roads and infrastructure because that's something that businesses look at also when they want to come to town.
Now, the incumbents are saying, gee, they're pretty happy with the way some of the economic development has gone in the past year and a half, 2 years. Some big companies coming in down to the aerospace corridor they're trying to develop, but you'd rather. What do you think of their efforts in that regard and how they did what they did?
Well, when it comes to some of those corporations that they brought in, some of that was taxpayer incentives. Those are not sustainable. You cannot continue to give $20 million to each company that you want to come in. So that is going to be something that's very difficult to sustain, and we can't sustain it. I'm happy that the business is coming in, but at the same time, we have to be smart about how we do it. We cannot continue to play favorites in companies that we bring in.
So at some point, you'll get a cluster of big companies and you'll hit your limit?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And again, it's taxpayer money, and, for instance, the Worldview deal was done behind closed doors. And the people didn't know anything about it until after it was completed. I don't think that's the way you should do business when you're playing with taxpayers' money.
Now, you know better than I do that roads are a hot issue.
They are.
And the county says, well, gas tax is our main income for that. Gas tax is declining as cars get better mileage and less gas is bought. How would you get around that one?
Well, here's the thing. HERF monies, which is Highway User Revenue Funds, and VLT funds, over the last 9 years, we've gotten about $688 million. So let's average that out to about $70 million a year. $20 million goes towards previous bond debt. Only about 7% is swept by the state. So that leaves, somewhere in the vicinity of $50 million a year to go towards roads. So where is it going? That's the question. And when you ask, the answer is it's going towards administrative costs. Now, how much administrative costs can we have? We also need to look at the RTA, the Regional Transportation Authority. I think that we can work with them and maybe funnel some of that money instead of to the large-scale projects to repairing our roads. And then again, we've got to look at the budget. You've got to cut the budget. You've got to find ways to cut the budget.
Where are some areas ripe for cutting?
Well, we have a county administrator that makes $320,000 plus a year. He's the second highest paid county administrator in the country. His office budget is $2 million. You've got some other areas, for instance, U of A. The state used to give the U of A $15 million a year. They had to stop doing that simply because they weren't able to do that in their budget. And maybe that's something that we need to look at because, there's no reason why we can't cut that back at least 2/3, because right now we're funding the hospital for residents, interns, at about almost $100,000 per intern. When that first started, it was at about $33,000. So the reduction in interns should be a reduction in the amount going that direction.
Now, if you look at the balance of power on the board, that has supported the situation as it is, the status quo.
Correct.
Do you bear some hope of maybe shifting that balance of power with this election?
Well, if I'm elected, it will switch the balance of power. And the bottom line is, in my view, I don't believe that these are red and blue issues. Your high taxes, your bad roads, your excessive debt, those aren't red and blue issues. Those are issues that all of us have, and we need to take care of those. She's been in office for 20 years. If she hasn't fixed those issues, probably not going to happen. During her reign, basically, we've doubled our debt. Our taxes are the highest in the state, and our roads are deteriorating.
Unfortunately, we're on a real tight leash on time, but I'm trying to think of other issues because we talked to Bronson, we went pretty long. So anything else you feel like you want to add on this? Any other issues that maybe deserve attention and haven't had much?
Well, some of the information that's being put out there I don't think is exactly truthful, in the sense that, they're taunting that Tucson is the third fastest growing in jobs, when in actuality they were the third fastest growing for 1 month. 1 month over 20 years. You know, we have to look at having business enter and stay and job growth and economic development consistently over time, not for a month here, a month there, or just during election years. That's unacceptable.
What are some things about your history and background that you feel make you well qualified for this?
Well, I'm a United States Marine, a retired Arizona State police officer, and a local businesswoman. So my background is in contract, and I've also been a business owner, contract negotiations, grant acquisition, criminal and civil law, large-scale project management. So I've got a lot of things in my background that would make me a good supervisor that fit right into that position.
What sort of contracts did you negotiate?
The contracts that we negotiated were basically contracts with housing. So we did some housing contracts. We did contracts with retail operations within Pima County and also outside of Pima County. We did contracts as large as $300,000. The budget with Pima County is $1.14 billion. Difference, but the concept is the same. You know, economics is economics.
What sort of work did you do in the Marines?
In the Marine Corps, I was in the Marine Corps Reserve. So I went in '84 and I got out in '92. And actually at the time I was in motor transport.
I know there's such a wide range of things you can do while in the
Exactly.
service. So
Yeah, and when you're in the reserves, it limits it a little bit.
I think that's probably going to do it. Is there anything you feel like you want to add?
No, I think that's about it. We just need to get this county straightened out and get it moving down the right road. I've been here for 38 years. And if anybody remembers the 1980s, it was a great time. And I think we can get back to that.